You are listening to the audio production of Never Cast Out, How the Gospel Puts an End to the Story of Shame by Jasmine L. Holmes, published by B&H Publishing Group. This book is read by Zakiya Young. Dedication. To the faithful Black women in my life who consistently interrupt the message of shame, I see you. Introduction. Writing this book has been a constant battle with shame, which, of course, makes sense given its topic. It's like that old saying about not asking God for patience, because as soon as you ask Him, He'll start giving you all kinds of opportunities to grow your patience through trials. Asking God to tackle the shame in my life was like inviting my good friend shame for an extended stay. There are so many ways that we could approach a book about shame. I have read so much on shame from therapists, researchers, and academics. I have been greatly helped by those volumes, and there is a list of them that I could commend to you. This is not one of those books. I am not a therapist talking to you about what shame does to the brain. I am not a researcher talking about how shame cripples so many areas of our lives. I am not an academic discussing the intricacies of shame's presence in the Old and New Testaments. So, here is who I am. I am a Christian and a pastor's kid who is now raising children in that same faith. I am a millennial who is watching her peers undergo deconstruction as they grapple with that faith. I am a woman and a wife who is trying to find her place in a society that seems so much easier to navigate as a man. I am a Black woman who has spent her entire life in majority white evangelical contexts, trying to contextualize experiences for which language is still being developed. Sometimes shame is hoisted on our shoulders in one big traumatic event, like a big boulder. Other times, it adds weight to our shoulders incrementally, one pebble at a time, to where we barely notice the escalating weight. In this book, I'm going to give you examples of the latter because I'm not a trauma therapist. Rather, I'm a fellow believer who has had to learn the skill of recognizing incremental doses of shame that have not been met with the gospel. Said another way, if you start reading and you begin to think, wow, these seem like trivial examples compared to the heavy things I've had to bear when it comes to shame, you'd be right. My goal, though, isn't to dodge the real problems, rather to help you see shame in the places you typically miss it. In short, I'm staying in my lane, and ultimately, I'm simply trying to paint in broad brushstrokes when it comes to the way the gospel speaks to shame, because it's a part of the gospel I didn't have eyes to see for far too long. I want to help you see it too, especially in those small and seemingly insignificant experiences and where you've been carrying it. I want the gospel to send it packing. I have been a Christian since I was 6 years old, which means I've known Jesus pretty much all my life. But I did not know until just recently that Jesus despised the shame that so often had me bound. In my mind, shame was a tool that Jesus was using to whip me into shape, or a byproduct of the fact that I just needed to be trying harder. Shame was something that belonged in my Christian walk as a reminder not to step out of line. I viewed shame as a frenemy of sorts. It tortured me, yes, but surely it sanctified me as well. I must have read Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 2 so many times before, but it wasn't until I started staring shame in the face that some of the words jumped out at me anew. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?